Ladies and gentlemen, this is your host Angel, and welcome back to TFTC Reimagined Let's Play, or in this case, Let's Replay. I did mention a few weeks ago that I wanted to do a couple of these, and we're going to start this time with we're going back to Battle 3 Mission 1. Now, if you remember from that video, I wasn't very happy with this mission. I felt it was not very well done. It's had some issues. You'd spent too long waiting around. Depending on how you did it, you could get easily killed as well. And generally speaking, flying about in a TIE bomber whilst trying to inspect containers and then protect them is not fun. Who would have thought? Near the planet. So I have spent some time rejigging this mission, and we're going to go and replay this today. And I think it's in a much better place now. It's a much more fun mission. And the primary reason for that, or at least one main reason for that, is I have now swapped us from a TIE bomber into a TIE interceptor, which is a lot more fun to fly. I mean, I've already talked about my preference for the TIE interceptor as one of my favourite TIEs, and I don't think you fly it enough in TIE Fighter. So yeah, TIE Interceptor it is. Now this is from version 1.3, which is not currently out as I record this video. Hopefully will be in a few weeks, but you can already see there's a couple of differences. You might notice on the left hand side there's a new logo, and this will be replaced in Classic and Reimagined. Two wingmen armed with concussion missiles. We have the briefing officer finally making his appearance. It's obviously not anywhere near like the original, but you know, this is as close as I can get to having the briefing officer visually appear in the briefing, and I tried to make this spinning logo myself.
Our first step in building.
And if the secret order is present, then you'll have both him and the secret order in that little photo, but I will demonstrate that in the next mission.
The equipment.
Another change for 1.3 is I've redone all the icons. I mean, it may not be immediately apparent. In fact, for some of it, you won't notice it at all. But there's a few others you may notice. There are some changes, because there were a few little minor visual glitches and bugs with some of these icons. And one of the changes is I've actually added the planet icon. This is not present in 1.2 currently, but you can see there's a large planet icon. This is more pressing for Classic. The Classic campaign briefings often had a planet background in their briefings, which was missing and now has been restored. In fact, the X-Wing here, you can see, actually had a minor visual bug where it had little bits of black around its nose cone, and this is one of those things I've redone. But yeah, I've done each icon from scratch again, and created a nice Photoshop file so I can edit them nice and easily. So yeah. So here we are in the TIE Interceptor. As I've said before, my favourite craft, or at least one of my favourite crafts. And first thing you might notice, different engine sounds flying by from the TIE Interceptor. We've added quite a few unique sounds now for the, particularly the in-flight engine noises of the TIEs, and each craft can also have their own unique sounds. This is thanks to another hook by the X-Wing Alliance upgrade team. And also we can have multiple flyby sounds now, so instead of saying, or hearing rather, one engine noise at a time as a craft flies by, you have them overlapping with each other. But anyway, on to the mission. I rather have changed quite a few things here, so we'll go through the changes. First off, you might have noticed we're already immediately engaged by some Z95s. They're attacking both you and your wingmen, so you need to deal with them first.
Got him!
Once they're out of the way, there'll be some Y-Wings nearby you also need to deal with. Those Y-Wings are also on this kind of left-hand side of the battlefield now, which weren't before. They will immediately destroy the abandoned station rather than the transports and the Corvette, so you can deal with them. And then you can clean up any remaining X-Wings, or you can choose to go and inspect and destroy the transports and the Corvettes, or you could just go and inspect. It's up to you. At least with the TIE Interceptor now, you've got a lot more speed and maneuverability. The whole job should be quicker, certainly to inspect the containers. So once you've dealt with the fighters, or at least want to go and inspect the transports, I suggest you do it quickly, because your wingmates will go and kill the transports. Currently for 1.2, as of this video, the transports are armed and will fire back at you, and so they're actually quite difficult to kill, and they will kill your wingmates. This is one of the problems of this mission. Your wingmates die, leaving you alone, and then when the second wave comes in, often an A-wing will come and attack you all the time, and it's very hard to deal with in a TIE bomber. Not the case anymore, so it's quite easy to deal with those transports. And there they go. Do inspect them though if you want the bonus goals. So I prefer to deal with it this way. Once all the enemy craft are dealt with, I can go inspect the containers. So another change here. In the previous version and in the classic version, a heavy lifter will spawn each time you find a container with the station parts. And there are 5 station parts to find, so the heavy lifter launchers will be staggered. The previous triggers for the second wave of rebels arriving was about, I think it was like a third of the containers being inspected. And then they would arrive. The problem is, because this would divert your attention, the heavy lifters would spawn at different points, or you could just choose to hold off on spawning the rest of them until you dealt with the rebels. But the problem with this is it makes the mission long, because you're spending a lot of time just waiting around doing nothing, as you might remember from my previous video of this. And yeah, so I've streamlined the mission flow considerably here. So all the heavy lifters will now spawn once all station parts are found, but only at this point. So they all launch together. And also the second wave of rebels, as you can see, they're now arriving, will also only spawn once all the heavy lifters themselves have spawned. And so the mission flow is now nice and straightforward instead of just being haphazard.
Arrived. Enemy Z-95s are targeting the heavy lifters. Intercept them at once.
So the Z-95s, that's another change. In the current version, it's a pair of Y-wings, or a couple of ways of pair of Y-wings that will attack the heavy lifters. The problem is, it's actually rather hard for the player to notice this. There's no indicator of which Y-wing it's supposed to be unless you check the map.
I'm going down!
And so it's very easy to, lose track of which craft you're trying to engage, and then the heavy lifters are killed, making the mission frustrating. If you haven't already been killed by an A-wing, which is going to go for you, almost guaranteed at this point. So we've changed, I've changed it to Z-95s, and I've added an in-flight message which draws the player's attention to the fact that the Z-95s, as you just heard, are going for the heavy lifters. So the player now has a priority of which ships they need to engage and know which ones they need to engage. And there are 3 waves of 2 Z-95s to deal with here, so you still need to be paying attention on the ball, because your next priority will be the Y-wings attacking the stalwart. On hard difficulty, the stalwart is definitely in serious jeopardy in this time, because I think in hard mode there's actually an added wave of Y-wings, and there's a lot to deal with, a lot of torpedoes, and so the stalwart is actually in serious danger, and you need to deal with that. But yeah, I mean, the A-wings can still go for you. You still don't have any countermeasures, and they do still have missiles, but they're a lot easier to deal with now because you're in a TIE interceptor. You're pretty much matching their maneuverability and speed, and you do have more wingmen this time. I mean, you start with 2 wingmen, but you have 2 extra wingmen that will spawn if your current wingmen die. So you do have help this time.
Docking operations. Message from mission critical craft. They have started docking operations. Message from mission critical craft. They have started docking operations.
So yeah, everything's under control currently. I would say this is still a relatively tough mission if you're not paying attention. Either the heavy lifters will be destroyed, or you'll be destroyed by an A-wing. There's things to juggle here for your attention. But it's definitely a lot less frustrating, and the feedback I've had is that this is definitely a significant improvement on the current 1.2 version. All the laser effects have also been upgraded for 1.3. It may not be immediately obvious, but there's some basically B-Man has redone all the laser textures, so there might be some differences here. Another nice bonus, we finally got round to actually when your lasers are on lower power, the sound effect will change. There, you can hear the TIE bomber effect there. That's also new. But yeah, currently when your lasers are super powered and low powered, they sound exactly the same. So you can't audibly hear when your lasers are at lower power. Now you can, and this will affect all flyable craft. And yeah, that's one of those little changes that should have really been in the start, but never got round to. And now we have. Again, thanks to the sound hook, which allows us to basically customize all the laser and engine sounds for each individual craft, which B-Man has been working on. So it gives a lot more audible flavor to everything, instead of just hearing the same sound effects for everything over and over again. And I think you should be able to see just by watching this is a much different mission now. A lot more kinetic, a lot more energetic, a lot more fun. Because dogfighting a TIE bomber just isn't that fun, and obviously then expecting the containers takes longer because you're in a slow-ass craft.
Superb job, Alpha 1.
And yeah, there we go. Rebels dealt with, and we're already 60% of all heavy lifters completed their mission. And I think in the distance there I see just the 2 remaining just about to dock. So you might remember from the last mission, or the last version of this mission, we were spending quite a few minutes waiting for this mission to finish, but as soon as those lifters finish, there we go, mission complete. So hopefully you will enjoy this a lot more, and it's a lot less frustrating.
Excellent work, Alpha 1. Primary mission objectives completed.
And there you go, that's another new thing for 1.3. We've restored the original tactical officer's primary objectives completed, secret objectives completed. We've spliced that into all the WAV files for Reimagined and Classic. So again, just bringing back that extra flavour of the original audio. The only thing we don't really have right now is the hull condition critical shields down, because that doesn't really quite work for how X-Wing Alliance handles those kind of messages, so I have no intention to add those, basically.
Carrier Condor. It will take these.
So yeah, I'm not gonna
to be broken down.
bore you with continuing with the. We've heard this audio before. I have redone a lot of the hints for some of the reimagined missions and re-recorded them,
Go and eliminate.
so you get to listen to those. But yeah, that was Battle 3 Mission 1. Next time I'll do Battle 3 Mission 2, and until that time, fly safe.